Hey, RJ Helms here, back with another episode of Let's Play OpenTTD. To recap, in the last episode we built the express route that goes from ABG to TBH to EDG on its own dedicated track. It shares track right at the loops of these railroad stations at either end, but the rest of the way runs on dedicated track, and that's been really successful. Just from the very short amount of time that route's been operating, you can see we've already seen a lot of the traffic, at least on this east half of the local service, really starting to divert to that main connection, which is great. It's starting to drop down on this end here, but I don't think we'll get it all the way down, so we're going to need a couple more trains running on the local service line eventually. But it's gone a long way to improve our capacity problems. It's also hugely profitable. If we look at it, we can see it earned £50,000 last year, and it wasn't even running for the whole year. So, obviously, in the long term, we'll want more and more trains on that line, because it's also not at capacity, but it looks like it was a huge improvement and something that'll really help our bottom line, which is exactly what we were looking for. So in this episode, what I want to do is mostly finish this line from HGH to NKW. If you recall, the original plan for this was to route it all the way down to these two cities here, Vilsfort and Grünkirch, once again connected with local bus service the way these are. And we only built it here to get started, but that just seems like a good quick win to finish that line and get a couple more towns on the network. But before I get to that, I want to get a couple more trains on some routes here. So the first one I want is on the HGH to NKW route. There's only one train running on that line right now, I believe, yes, and it's profitable enough. And of course, we've got the typical well over capacity problem that kind of all our train lines have. So let's do that first. So go to our train station here and let's see if I can afford two right away. I can't, but I can max out my loan again. It would be nice to have the loan paid down completely, but that seems a little bit far off, just speaking realistically. So let's get those two guys on the line. And I'm also going to want at least one more train on the HGH to TBH side. I'm going to wait for these to clear out of the station before I do that, otherwise they might get bogged up and break our timetable. We might actually see with the number of trains that are coming on here that we do actually need more platforms in the station. We'll see how that works, especially when you've got timetables getting reset like this. Trains might end up waiting here for a bit longer than ideal, so that can cause some knock-on effects affecting the other trains. And that's why, for example, down here, where performance was really important, on the express route, we've got that on dedicated track. So while we wait for that to kick in and see how that affects the capacity here, let's start building this this new station down here. So I'm going to build it in Vilsfort on this side here, and this is going to be another railroad station because it is at the end of this line. It's going to come in pretty close to this other town, but that's not a huge problem. Okay, let's just get this connected like that. Nope, I actually want it the other way. Like this. I have to think about how we're going to connect this up. Nope, can't do that. I always get the move up and down buttons confused with the level button. So I think what I'm going to want to do is have this come out a little bit like that. I'm not going to build the X because we're going to be removing that one there, of course. How does this connect up if I come over there to actually know? So this is going to have to jog a little bit out of the way, just to have room to make a smooth turn in. But it sounds like that's why I want these to join up. this guy up running parallel to that one. Like so. So I actually don't want this to come down like that at all. There, so now these two are at the same level. Alright, so that's how I want that to go. Perfect, and now let's signal this side of the station, so just like that, and going through there. And down here, signal this all the way back to over there. Okay, perfect. Now let's change our route around. Like that. And get the timetable autofilling. Just so that these trains aren't doing anything weird while I fix the signals over at this end. There's actually not too much to do here, which is nice. I just want to remove this X. Change these signals around. Let's just put one more in there to keep the gap tight. And that should be NKW sorted. Of course, I'm going to rename this station VLF Works and rename my group. It's not, so it is, what is it? Not road vehicles, of course, there's my problem. It is actually going to be HGH2VLF now. Okay, perfect. And now while we wait for that timetable to finish, let's get our local service set up here. How does that work? Atrocious still. And it's because of the destruction and the terraforming. There are a lot of mean things to that town. But we'll make this work. Poor, mediocre, great. So for now, that's enough for Vilsfort. So this will be VLFC. And we look at our highest capacity our passenger bus, which is still the Hereford, unless I want to get into the articulated buses, which I've kind of opted against in this game. So here I can actually just start putting in these times as they show up, even though they're not timetabled. I want to make a local DLF group. And put it in the local parent group. And then while, okay, this timetable is ready, so I can get this guy out of the way. With its share of slack. And this is ready as well. I feel like that was the wrong train to reset. Yeah, I'm going to reset this timetables again when this guy, train 18, which is the next one to come to HGH, gets into the station. because I want to set the time to go right before it gets into the station, not right after. And while I wait for that to happen, I can join up these two cities. And get the local service between these towns. Or not local service, but the intercity service to support the VLF station. Alright, there we are. Okay, here we go. This guy start on the 28th. That should be perfect. So this can be RNK. It's going to want a depot as well. And we can go for the fastest bus this time, which is still the Scenic Cruiser. Alright, and let's get a group for this guy while its timetable fills out. So this is going to be RNK to VLF. There are a number of vehicles that say they're getting very old. A Foster Pioneer bus. Do I have a replacement order that I'm missing? Foster Pioneer buses are getting replaced with Scenic Cruiser coaches, so it just hasn't happened yet. I just want to go by age. Are all the ones that are very old? Yeah, they're all Pioneer buses that haven't been replaced yet, so that's fine. How are you guys doing? How's this guy doing on his timetable? So it hasn't started yet. It's going to start really, really late. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we'll deal with that as it becomes a problem. Train 18's on time. The auto separation stuff isn't perfect, like you can see. So that guy's on time as well. So hopefully that'll work itself out okay. And then here we want to add our slack to that, to this route. And now's probably a good time to add our extra train to the TBH to HGH route. We'll start with one for now. So you can see here we're making great money just in 1978, which is the year after that new express train was added. We boosted our income by £500,000 a year, which is a 50% increase, and that's really wonderful. And that's because, look, in a year it was operating fully, it made £220,000. And it looks like it's made a bunch of our other buses or routes more profitable as well, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. So that's really wonderful news. Let's get a couple more vehicles on this VLF local route. One more on the intercity route. These are fine. That's fine. It looks like the HGH local route can use a couple more vehicles. Let's give it 3. Which can start in early February. feel like TBH wants 1. And TBH is looking like a very good candidate for just revisiting kind of how we're servicing it. This town's grown so far beyond the little area of downtown that we're servicing that there's a lot more opportunity for feeder service here. That's actually happening in a lot of these towns. So that might be what we start looking at in the next episode. Same thing here. 1 more vehicle on this route. You're fine. You're still showing no demand at all, which I don't really believe. And you want 2 more vehicles. So I'm going to flip this guy around just to let the one pass the other. Halberstadt is fine. These routes need some love, so the DHF local. I'm going to say use 1 more vehicle. And then DHFC to LSG. Let's give it 2 more. And I bet because this was all designed for... Oh, they're running late. I was going to say, I bet because this was designed for slower vehicles, I can take some of the slack out of the timetable, but it doesn't sound like I want to do that just yet. I want to do the same thing down here, which is going to be the GFG, and I want to use the Scenic Cruiser coaches. Let's put 2 more on it. So ABG is fine. Once again, this town is big enough that it could use local service. Same with here. This seems like it's really the best candidate. If I actually eventually went the route of train service, I could, to this town, I could build a nice little ring subway line. And that's, or not subway line, but, kind of an S-Bahn sort of setup. Let's get 3 more in here because there's a lot of demand. And finally, I think the only other town left to look at is NKW and this inner city line here, which certainly looks like it wants 1 or 2 more vehicles. How are these timetables doing? Alright, so far so good. Yeah, we're well on track to keep making a lot of money, which is excellent. So what I might want to do next is add another express train. That seems to be where the real money is to be made. So let's get 1 more of these on the line. And there goes all my money. I'm just curious about these airplanes starting to get old. If I go by profit last year, so none of them are terribly profitable, but I feel like I could have a replacement. Replace some of these, what is this guy? He is a 377 Stratocruiser, because they are obsolete as all hell. I may replace them with a bigger plane. I think capacity is actually the thing I want on this route, so I don't know if 747s are actually going to be worth my while. But let's go replace only old vehicles. And so these guys, as they get old, will eventually become 747s. We might actually be at the point where eliminating the air traffic and just replacing it with rail is what we want to do. But I'm not going to commit to that just yet. Well, I think this is as good a place as any to stop things for this episode. We've got this line finally finished, which is great. So the next episode, I think I will take some time to do some local service development. I think Tauberheim's the best candidate to do it just because it is getting kind of boxed in, because it's just so tight up against my network. Now is a better time to do it than later, because it's just going to get harder as the city grows. And the other question to think about would be whether I do ever want to build any bridges just to let the town grow over my network, which I probably do. But I always want to make sure to buy some land just to keep some space for future development. So we'll deal with that in the next episode. Just going to pay back some of my loan for now. So until then, I have been RJ Helms. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a comment below if you have any thoughts, any suggestions or questions. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks so much.